The divine beast. The fork hit the plate with a loud clatter. The sound echoed in the quiet dining room. Videl stopped eating. She looked at Gohan. His face was pale. He was looking down at his food, but he was not seeing it. He was seeing something far away. He was seeing a nightmare. The air in the room felt cold. It was not the air conditioner. It was a coldness that came from fear. Goku stopped chewing his food. He had a chicken leg in his mouth. He took it out slowly. He looked serious. He sensed it too. It was a sharp, metallic energy. It felt evil. It felt like a knife cutting through the sky. Gohan stood up slowly. His chair scraped against the floor. He clenched his fists. His knuckles turned white. He said that he had to go. Videl stood up too. She walked over to him. She put her hand on his arm. Her hand was warm. She asked him what was wrong. She asked if it was the shadow monster again. Gohan shook his head. He said no. This was something else. This was a ghost from the past. He looked at Pan. She was playing with her food in her high chair. She was happy. She did not know that a monster had just landed on her planet. Gohan promised himself that she would never know. He would stop the monster before it could get anywhere near his house. He told Videl to stay inside. He told her to lock the doors. Videl nodded. She trusted him. She knew he was the strongest warrior in the universe now. She had seen his new power. She kissed him on the cheek. She told him to win. Goku stood up. He wiped his mouth. He asked Gohan if he needed help. Gohan looked at his father. He thought about it. The enemy felt strong, very strong. But Gohan needed to test himself. He needed to see if he could protect the Earth on his own. He told Goku to wait. He said he wanted to see who it was first. Goku nodded. He sat back down, but he did not eat. He kept his senses open. He was ready to fly out the second Gohan needed him. Gohan walked to the door. He opened it. The night air was cool. The stars were shining. But in the distance, over the mountains, there was a red glow. It looked like a fire. Gohan stepped outside. He bent his knees. He launched himself into the sky. He flew fast. The wind roared in his ears. The ground below him was a blur of dark shapes. He flew towards the red glow. As he got closer, he could smell smoke. He could smell burning metal. It was a terrible smell. It smelled like a factory that was on fire. Gohan slowed down. He hovered in the air. He looked down. There was a massive crater in the middle of the rocky wasteland. In the center of the crater was a spaceship. It was huge. It looked like a giant metal crab. It had legs that dug deep into the ground. Steam was coming out of its vents. The ship was silver and shiny. It reflected the moonlight. But the most scary thing was not the ship. It was the army. Thousands of robots were marching out of the ship. They were silver robots with one red eye in the center of their heads. They marched in perfect lines. Clank, clank, clank. The sound of their metal feet hitting the rocks was loud. It sounded like a drum. Standing in front of the army was a tall figure. He was looking up at the sky. He was looking right at Gohan. Gohan floated down. He landed on a high rock. He looked at the leader. The leader was tall and purple. He had armor that looked like bone. He had a long tail that flicked back and forth. His face was covered by a metal mask. His eyes were red and glowing. Gohan knew this face. It was Cooler. But it was not the Cooler he had heard stories about. This Cooler was shiny. His skin was not skin. It was metal. It was a liquid metal that moved and shifted like water. Cooler looked at Gohan. He laughed. His voice sounded like it was coming through a computer. It was deep and distorted. He said he had been looking for Goku. He wanted the Saiyan who killed his brother Frieza. He wanted the Saiyan who humiliated his family, but instead he found a brat. He asked Gohan where his father was. Gohan crossed his arms. He stood tall. The wind blew his purple gi. He said that his father was eating dinner. He said that Cooler was not worth his father's time. Cooler stopped laughing. His red eyes narrowed. He did not like being insulted. He pointed a metal finger at Gohan. He said that monkeys should learn their place. He said he would kill Gohan first, and then he would kill Goku. He snapped his fingers. The army of robots turned their heads. Thousands of red eyes looked at Gohan. They raised their arms. Their arms turned into guns. They began to fire. Laser blasts filled the sky. It looked like a rain of red light. Gohan did not move. He watched the lasers coming. They were fast, but he was faster. He waited until the last second. Then he moved. He disappeared. The lasers hit the rock where he was standing. The rock exploded into dust. Gohan appeared in the middle of the robot army. He was a blur of motion. He punched the first robot. His fist went right through the metal chest. The robot sparked and fell down. Gohan spun around. He kicked another robot. The robot's head flew off. Gohan was fighting with his base power. He did not use Super Saiyan. He wanted to save his energy. He moved like water. He flowed between the robots. He ducked under a laser. He jumped over a metal arm. He was dancing. Every time he hit a robot, it was destroyed. He was too strong for them. He grabbed two robots by their heads. He smashed them together. The metal crunched. He threw them at the other robots. It was like bowling. The robots fell over in a pile. But there were too many of them. For every robot Gohan destroyed, two more marched out of the ship. It was an endless wave of metal. Gohan realized he could not keep this up forever. He had to take out the leader. He looked at Cooler. Cooler was standing on top of the ship. He was watching the fight with his arms crossed. He looked bored. Gohan jumped into the air. He flew over the robot army. He flew straight at Cooler. He pulled his fist back. He aimed for Cooler's mask. Cooler did not move. He let Gohan punch him. Gohan's fist hit Cooler's face. Bam! The sound was loud, but something was wrong. It did not feel like hitting flesh. It felt like hitting a heavy bag of water. Cooler's head did not snap back. Instead, his face dented inward. The metal skin bent around Gohan's fist. Gohan was surprised. Cooler grabbed Gohan's wrist. His grip was strong. It was cold. Cooler laughed. He said that physical attacks were useless. He was the big Gete star. The big Gete star was him. He threw Gohan. Gohan flew back and crashed into a mountain. The mountain crumbled on top of him. Gohan pushed the rocks off. He stood up. He had a scratch on his cheek. He wiped it. This was going to be harder than he thought. Cooler jumped down from the ship. He landed in front of Gohan. He did not have a dent in his face anymore. The metal had fixed itself. It was smooth and shiny again. Cooler charged at Gohan. He was fast, much faster than the robots. He punched Gohan in the stomach. Gohan blocked it, but the force pushed him back. Cooler did not stop. He threw a kick. Gohan dodged. Cooler spun around and used his tail. The metal tail hit Gohan in the side. It hurt. It felt like being hit with a steel bar. Gohan grunted. He flew back a few feet. He looked at Cooler. Cooler was strong. His power was not like a normal fighter. It was cold and artificial. It did not have a limit. It felt like a machine that could run forever. Gohan decided to step it up. He clenched his fists. He shouted. A white aura exploded around him. The ground shook. Gohan flew at Cooler. They clashed in the middle of the crater. Their fists met. The shockwave blew the robot army away. The ground cracked under their feet. They began to trade blows, punch for punch, kick for kick. Gohan was landing hits. He punched a hole in Cooler's chest, but the metal just flowed back and closed the hole instantly. Cooler kicked Gohan in the face. Gohan grabbed the leg and threw Cooler into the ground. Cooler bounced back up like a rubber ball. He fired an I-beam at Gohan. Gohan deflected it. The beam hit a nearby hill and blew it up. Gohan was getting frustrated. He could damage Cooler, but he could not hurt him. Cooler kept regenerating. And every time he regenerated, he seemed to get a little bit faster, a little bit stronger. Cooler explained that the big Gete star analyzed the enemy's fighting style. Every time Gohan attacked, the computer learned. It calculated the best way to counter Gohan. Gohan realized he needed to destroy Cooler completely. He needed to vaporize him so there was nothing left to regenerate. Gohan jumped back. He cupped his hands. He started to charge a Kamehameha. The blue light filled the dark crater. Cooler just stood there. He did not try to dodge. He opened his arms. He dared Gohan to do it. Gohan screamed. Kamehameha. He fired the blue beam. It was huge. It hit Cooler directly. The metal tyrant was engulfed in the energy. The beam pushed him into the side of the spaceship. There was a massive explosion. A mushroom cloud of smoke rose up. Gohan panted. He lowered his hands. He looked at the smoke. He waited. He hoped that was enough. The smoke cleared slowly. Gohan's eyes widened. Cooler was gone. But then he heard a sound. It was the sound of metal clicking. He looked at the top of the hill. Cooler was standing there. He was shiny and new. There was not a scratch on him. But he was not alone. Next to him, another Cooler walked out from behind a rock, and then another one, and another one. Within seconds, there were 5 metal Coolers standing on the hill. They all looked exactly the same. They all had the same cold red eyes. They all spoke at the same time. Their voices echoed. They said the big Gete star enabled them to cheat death. How could Gohan kill something that could make infinite copies? Gohan felt a drop of sweat roll down his forehead. 1 Cooler was hard enough. 5 was going to be a problem. The 5 Coolers jumped down. They surrounded Gohan. They attacked all at once. Gohan blocked the first punch, but the second one hit him in the back. He kicked the 3rd Cooler, but the 4th one grabbed his leg. The 5th one punched him in the face. Gohan was being bounced around like a ball. They were too fast. Their teamwork was perfect. They shared a single mind. They knew exactly what the others were doing. Gohan was getting beaten up. His gi was torn. It was bleeding from his lip. He fell to his knees. The 5 Coolers stood over him. They prepared to fire energy blasts to finish him off. Gohan closed his eyes. He needed to focus. He needed to be calm. He remembered the training with the old Kai. He remembered the feeling of the rose. He could not fight this with anger. Anger made him sloppy. He needed tranquility. He needed to be the ocean. Gohan took a deep breath. The world seemed to slow down. He could hear the hum of the Cooler's engines. He could feel the vibration of their energy. He reached deep inside himself. He found the purple light. He pulled it up. He opened his eyes. They were silver. A massive pillar of purple energy erupted from his body. It blew the 5 Coolers backwards. They tumbled across the ground. The light was blinding. It turned the night into day. When the light faded, Gohan was standing. His hair was pink. His aura was a swirling flame of violet and rose. He was in his Super Saiyan Rose form. The pressure was immense. The rocks around him started to float. The air became heavy. The Coolers looked at him. Their computers tried to analyze the power, but they couldn't. The numbers were too high. The energy was unknown. It was divine. Gohan looked at the 5 Coolers. He did not look scared anymore. He looked like a king. He disappeared. He reappeared in front of the first cooler. He did not punch. He simply placed his hand on the cooler's chest. A burst of pink energy shot out of his palm. The cooler disintegrated instantly. The metal turned into dust. The other 4 coolers attacked. Gohan dodged without looking. He swayed to the left. He ducked. He moved with 0 effort. It was like he was a ghost. He kicked the second cooler. The leg sliced through the metal body like a hot knife through butter. The cooler exploded. Gohan spun around and fired 2 small blasts from his fingers. The shots hit the third and fourth coolers in the head. Their heads vanished. Their bodies fell down. Only 1 cooler was left. He backed away. He looked afraid. His computer could not understand what was happening. This power broke the laws of physics. Gohan walked towards him. The ground cracked with every step. Gohan said that this power was not for destruction. It was for protection. And he would protect the Earth from this metal parasite. He raised his hand to finish the last cooler. But suddenly, the ground began to rumble. The massive spaceship behind them started to make a loud noise. It sounded like a siren. The last cooler started to laugh. He said Gohan was a fool. He said the fight was just a distraction. While they were fighting, the big Gite star had been digging into the planet. It was eating the Earth's energy. It was growing roots deep into the core. Gohan looked at the ship. The metal legs were glowing red. They were sucking the life out of the ground. The grass around the crater turned brown and died. The trees withered. The energy of the planet was being drained. Cooler said that soon the entire planet would be a dead husk. And with that energy, the big Geta star would create an army of millions of metal coolers. Gohan felt a spike of panic. He had been too focused on the fight. He had not noticed the ship's true purpose. He had to destroy the ship. He ignored the last cooler. He flew towards the main core of the ship. But as he flew, the ship reacted. The metal walls of the ship opened up. Thousands of wires and cables shot out like snakes. They tried to grab Gohan. Gohan tore through them. He ripped them apart with his bare hands. But there were too many. They wrapped around his arms. They wrapped around his legs. They tried to pull him down. Gohan struggled. The wires were strong. They were draining his energy too. He felt his rose form flickering. The ship was trying to eat him. He roared. He flared his wide aura. The wires melted. He broke free. He flew higher. He prepared a massive attack to destroy the ship from above. But then, he saw something that made his heart stop. On top of the ship, a door opened. A glass container rose up. Inside the container was a person. It was Piccolo. He was unconscious. He was wrapped in wires. The ship had captured him while Gohan was fighting. Cooler's voice boomed over the speakers. He told Gohan to stop. He said if Gohan destroyed the ship, he would destroy Piccolo too. Gohan froze. He held the energy in his hands. He could not fire. He could not hurt his master. Cooler laughed. He knew he had won. He knew Saiyans were weak. They cared too much about their friends. He told Gohan to surrender. He told Gohan to power down and let the ship eat him. If he did that, he would let Piccolo go. Gohan hovered in the air. He was trapped. If he fought, Piccolo died. If he surrendered, the Earth died. He looked at Piccolo. Piccolo looked so pale. His energy was fading. Gohan felt a rage building up inside him, but he pushed it down. Rage would not save Piccolo. He needed a plan. He needed a miracle. He looked down at his hands. The pink energy hummed. It was the energy of a Kai. Kais were creators. Could he use this power to save Piccolo instead of destroying the enemy? Gohan closed his eyes. He expanded his senses. He felt the ship. It was a cold, mechanical web. but he also felt Piccolo's life force. It was a small green light in the darkness. Gohan focused on that light. He tried to connect with it. He tried to send his energy to Piccolo remotely. It was a technique Kibito Kai had mentioned, energy transfer. But Gohan had never done it before. He had to try. He pointed his finger at the glass container. He shot a thin, invisible beam of divine energy. It traveled through the air. It passed through the glass. It touched Piccolo. Inside the container, Piccolo's eyes snapped open. He gasped. He felt a surge of warm power filling his body. He looked up and saw Gohan. He understood. Piccolo grunted. He flexed his muscles. With the new energy, he broke the wires holding him. He smashed the glass. He jumped out. He was free. Cooler screamed in anger. He had lost his hostage. Gohan smiled. Now there was nothing holding him back. He looked at the ship. He looked at the army of coolers that were starting to form again. He raised his hands high above his head. He gathered all the ambient energy in the atmosphere. The pink light grew brighter and brighter. It became a sun. He shouted, "Divine Masenko." He threw his hands forward. A massive beam of pink and yellow light shot down. It was wide enough to cover the entire crater. It hit the ship. It hit the robots. It hit the coolers. The sound was deafening. The light consumed everything. The metal melted. The ship disintegrated. The ground shook as the core of the ship was vaporized. The explosion could be seen from space. When the dust finally settled, there was nothing left but a giant smoking hole in the ground. The big Get Star was gone. Metal Cooler was gone. Gohan floated down. He was tired. His hair turned back to black. He landed next to Piccolo. Piccolo was panting, but he was okay. He patted Gohan on the shoulder. He said that was close. Too close. Gohan nodded. He looked at his hands. He had saved the day again, but he felt a lingering worry. The universe was getting more dangerous. First Bojack, now Cooler. It felt like something was drawing them here. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the sky. It was a hologram. It was Whis. He looked serious. He said Gohan and the others needed to come to the sacred world of the Kais immediately. Something had happened. Something bad. The seal on the demon realm was breaking, and it was all because of the energy ripples caused by Gohan's new form. The universe was reacting to the divine beast. The balance was shifting, and now the demons were waking up. Gohan looked at Piccolo. Piccolo nodded. They grabbed onto each other. Gohan used instant transmission. They vanished. They left the smoking crater behind. But as they left, deep underground, a single piece of liquid metal survived. It was a small chip. It blinked with a red light. It began to crawl. It was looking for a new host, and it was heading towards the city. The battle is won, but the war is far from over. A new darkness is rising in the next episode.